Hi, this is Ben Warren with 1851 Franchise. Welcome back to our Franchise Legal Players series. I'm so excited to be here today with Harris J. Chernow, a partner with Reger, Rizzo, and Darnall. Harris, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good, Ben. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Great. So let's jump right into the questions here. First of all, how did you end up specializing in franchise law and what drew you to the field?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for me, it's one that goes back many years where I had a colleague who happened to refer me a franchise matter. I had not handled any franchise matters beforehand and really not sure why he had even sent it to me. But I was intrigued by it, worked through it, and it actually involved a Subway franchise. And it was enough intriguing, did well with it, and just start to look into the practice of franchise law. I mean, I'll be honest, at that point, didn't even know there was such an animal as a franchise lawyer or franchise law per se. And it just more and more that I looked into it, I just, as I say, became intrigued with it. Thought it was a great practice area. Also realized that there weren't a lot of lawyers that were so-called franchise lawyers. There were a lot that handle a franchise matter here and there, transactional or dispute resolution, whatever. But and just one thing led to another, and just started to dive into it and started to attend all the franchise legal conferences and symposiums, and started to meet people and just get involved. And one thing led to another, and here we are. I guess they call me a franchise lawyer now.
Well, as a franchise lawyer, can you tell us what do you think is the biggest legal hurdle facing the franchise industry in 2021 and going into 2022?
Yeah, well, that sure is a loaded question
Yeah.
these days. I'm sure myself and my colleagues' answers may have been different in 2019 versus today, 2020 and 2021. It's interesting that I don't know if it's a legal, everything relates back to law and legal issues, but to me in general, it's business issues that lead to the legal issues, and I think the biggest hurdle in the franchise world is labor and employment issues. I think that is the number one. And even though that may be more of a boots on the ground business side related, it still tends to it will flow into the legalities and how governments are getting involved with classifying people, and in terms of this joint employer concept, which I'm sure we've all heard of over the years, and just also in terms of just wages and compensation and liability. COVID has sprung on a new era of what we can and can't do with certain things, and how we can regulate certain employees if they aren't vaccinated, and things of that nature. So I really think it's the biggest hurdle, or issues will be related to labor and employment.
Right. And what do you think is the most common mistake you see franchise brands making these days from a legal perspective?
Well, so from my franchisor brand clients, their answer would be nothing. But no, I've seen doing this long enough that I think the number one issue or mistake, if we want to call that, with brands is the relationship, the franchisor franchisee relationship, and at times ignoring issues that may be on the forefront, not addressing issues in a timely manner and letting them fester, and then they result in going to some kind of dispute resolution, arbitration, litigation, which at that point, it's a shame. Because if you look back, I will say that a vast majority of the dispute resolution matters, I have been involved in, if you look back at them, they could have been resolved at the very beginning or somewhere well before getting to the desk of some lawyer. And so that's where I think, and I will also say that I think this COVID period, as I'll call it, has caused brands to step back and take a look and go, you know what? Yeah, we've got to look at our relationship a little bit differently. And I think many have, quite honestly, and many have done a wonderful job now of sort of, uh, sort of reapproaching this relationship issue and involving the franchisees a bit more in the day-to-day operation issues and overall operations, and getting input and seeing what's really working on the street rather than from the corporate headquarters. And I think the relationship issue is what we're seeing changing. There's some that haven't, I mean, but that'll always be, but a vast majority have really learned, both from the franchisee and franchisor side, of how to have better working relationship among the two.
So you've been doing this for a while now. What do you love about working with franchises? What keeps you in this field?
So I guess you say I've been doing it a lot because it's the gray hair up top. But what makes me love this is the fact that, as a franchise lawyer, and same with my colleagues, is that, we see our industry every single day. When we go to our office, come from our office, travel, there's a franchise everywhere. And we actually get to, live it, feel it, touch it, and see it, whether we're going into the local QSR or we're passing, a tax preparation business, or a lawn maintenance business, whatever it is, we see our world every day. And to me, that's the part I like, is that, it covers a number of different industry areas, and we get to see it every day. It's like my clients who, maybe a manufacturer of a widget. Well, yeah, I understand that maybe I've been to the plant, but, I really don't get to see how it works in some mechanical object that deals with a construction item or whatever it might be. But here, as I say, Ben, it's fascinating to actually see and be able to relate directly to what we are advising our clients on.
So final question for you. What is one thing you think every prospective franchisee should know before signing on with a franchise brand?
That's an easy one, but easier said than done. And that's to educate themselves. And I don't even care if you don't go to a lawyer. I do care if you go to a lawyer, but you got to learn what it's about. It's not simply Ben's going to open up a hamburger business. You got to understand what you're really getting into. A franchise concept is totally different from Ben's Burgers versus pick a brand, whatever it is, franchise system. For starters, you have to run numbers. Get an accountant that helps you to run numbers. I mean, because most people are doing this because they want to earn a living out of this. See what you can do to run pro formas and things. Like, educate yourself on what the system is all about. Compare it to other systems. And then, what gets me is that people are signing a 30, 40, 50-page franchise agreement and have never seen a lawyer before they sign it. And it's mind-boggling in a sense, because, they don't realize what they're obligating themselves to. And the franchise world can be a terrific business opportunity for these people, can make a lot of money in there. And yeah, of course, there's those that have failed. It's true in any business proposition that people enter into, but it's educating yourself. Know what franchising is really all about. Know what that agreement says. Even if it can't be changed, know what it's about before you enter into it. That's a benefit, not just to the franchisee, but also to the franchisor, because too many times from my franchisor clients also, it's like, didn't they know this before going in? And the answer, unfortunately, is no, they really didn't, because unfortunately, too many prospective franchisees, who've never been involved, equate the word franchise to mean guaranteed success. And it's not guaranteed success, but they all think of it. They say, oh, if I have a McDonald's, I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, I wish that was true, but it's not. So to me, Ben, the one word I would sum it up on is educate. Educate yourself on what it's all about. Know what it is that you're really getting into. Know what the business and legal ramifications and positives and negatives of all this are before you sign on the dotted line. So important, because I've had you sign on the dotted lines. When you ask them, did you look at this before you went into it? And they sit there and go, no, I didn't. If I would have known that. Well, exactly. So to me, it's education.
Great advice and very well put. Thank you so much. Harris, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to check in with you again in the future.
Man, look forward to it. Thank you. And everybody, have a great remainder of this year. It's hard to believe it's already, October, November. And so everybody enjoy and stay well and stay healthy.
All right. Take care.